streets, take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets, take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets, take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Discussing that heat in the street, hey, we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets, take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets, take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets, take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what
All
you need.
alone.
Vitamin G. Ay. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G, got what you need. Vitamin G, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Hey, final round. I already know how I'm coming, man. Try run the town. Tell no duck when they hear that sound. How they gon' come up now? Heavy as the head that'll wear that crown. I'm going pound for pound. And if it's by smoke, then we tote all of that. from an ounce to a pound. Take it, they biting this now. Cause my drip right up the seat. How could they be? Give me a couple of rounds. Cause I'm a beast when I'm on vitamin G. You see they start crumbling now. Mad struck start mumbling now. Get the gist, I ain't reaching for cloud. Plot twist, I'm the one with the keys. Clock blitz, know they look how it freeze. Different continents, I be torn. We living life, making yours look boring. See, we win at the end, it's a spoiler warning. Cause I keep heating up, I might blow the whole planet. They calling me toxic like global warming. But they keep tuning in once again and again. I'm the one at the top, just to form a warning. Truly, I'm De Niro when it come to movies. Get De Niro, entertain the groupies. Habanero if you come pursue me. But I hop on the gang, too busy rolled up whenever my girl getting moody. Let me go with the gang, we all go insane. Catching them doors on the duty. On the stick, see I'm locked in. Bought a box, I was like 10. Back then, used to box, nowadays they ain't throwing hands. Mama said we got more advanced. One thing about me, I adapt, bought a Glock fin. Keep me safe from the block in. The game kept me off the block. Ain't got flex about looting my Ruger. I can shit on you with my computer. See my graphics card costs more than your damn job can afford to pay you. And my monitor, big as hell, detail, so I can see when I spray you. To reload the clip and record the clip is go all say to that SSD. Know a whole lot of trill game heads like me wanna see tuned into that VGP. Take over the west and the east, and we got just what you need on vitamin G.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dante Crisis back with another weekly dose of vitamin G. I'm not looking forward to today's show, but once we get to the topic, you'll understand why. I'm being Sweden on this one, and the only person I feel is going to be a ray of sunshine in my life during this is going to be Zero. But let us get to the intros. First of all, speaking of Zero, how are you, my guy? What have you been playing?
I will always be your ray of sunshine, Dante. Cloudy days, and you live in Europe where it's like a lot of cloudy days.
You
but I'll
say
make sure
that, but like the heat and the sun has just not been.
This is true. Yeah, you guys are having a pretty.
That's because we all need to start getting our little electric vehicles, and we need to start riding our bikes to work. And
I already do that.
Solar panels on our roofs and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, sure. When it becomes affordable and actually possible for me.
Mine got 16 kilo per hour, so not that bad.
That's interesting. But nothing's been up, man. Really getting back into the swing of things with a couple of games. Still playing through. I can't always say it wrong. I guess it's Live Alive, Live Alive,
Live Alive,
Live Alive.
How is it?
Absolutely, I love it. What I've come to understand about it is I don't really think I've seen anything like it. It's this, because Octopath I think is bigger than this game. It's a series of like RPG vignettes where there's just these little small RPG slices. So it's not like a full like experience, but it's sort of like if one is Final Fantasy VII, one might be Street Fighter, one might be Fatal Frame. You know, there's just like 8 or 7 different little like RPG vignettes. I finished 3 so far. On to the Wild West one currently. Absolutely loving it. Once again, I gotta praise the sound, the music, and the voice acting is pretty A1 in this game. And those are things voice acting I don't tend to care about at all. But pretty A1 in this game. Other than that, multiverses, having an absolute blast. It is the only, I mean, there is no contender to Smash, but like if any game was going to step up and do it, this is probably the one. Once again, the attention to detail on how they made the game is so impressive compared to another game that just recently came out, Nintendo All-Stars or whatever, which is a Nickelodeon All Stars, which is their version of Smash as well, with all of their proprietary characters. But like their characters don't speak. The music I don't think they have like the licensed music on there. The fighting doesn't feel very like comfortable. Whereas Warner Brothers, I don't even know why they decided to do this. Or the company is, I think, Play Anywhere Games who made it. They put so much detail into everything. Like I had mentioned last week about the Iron Giant. Tom and Jerry is a character who doesn't actually like fight you. All of
Tom chases Jerry around and you just happen to get in the way.
Yes, like everything is just Tom trying to hurt Jerry. So if you get hit by a tennis racket, it's not because he was trying to hit you. He was trying to hit Jerry, and Jerry jumped out of the way, and then you got hit. Or like Velma, who does not throw a punch at all in this game, because Velma doesn't fight. She's never fought once in the history, for the most part, of Scooby-Doo. So everything is like clues and things where they could have just, when I compare it to like Smash, where take a character sort of maybe like Princess Peach, even though she's popped up more in games recently. But like at the time, particularly original or Melee when she showed up, Princess Peach doesn't do a lot, right? Like she doesn't hit people, so they effectively gave her. I mean, you're right. Like it's there, but like you could be forgiven if they decided to not give Princess Peach a full like actually punchy moveset, because she's not a punchy move type of person.
I think personally, I think they might have based the Peach in the original in Melee specifically off of the Super Mario RPG version of her.
And that would make the most sense, yeah. And so you have all these things where like there are certain characters. Captain Falcon's another one where like objectively you've never actually seen Captain Falcon fight because he's in a racing game. So like they didn't have to. You just assume he can. So everyone can Smash can like throw hands because that's what it's about. Where Multiverses, everybody can throw hands, but in their own very unique way. And so in a game where Batman talks to Arya Stark and says like, "I think you would like my son Damien," like that's awesome, and that's a level of detail they just didn't have to do. So I highly recommend Multiverses to everyone. You're going to run into a lot of Finn players because Finn's kind of the cheese right now. Rick and Morty should be dropping soon. I think the Rick and Morty level just dropped. So I highly recommend it to everyone.
All right, cool. And Mr. Always Late himself, Mr. Jubei Sensei, what have you been up to, my guy?
What up? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Cool. I haven't been up to much. Chilling. Trying to change jobs at the moment, so there's that.
How's that going for you?
I will know after this week.
My fingers are crossed.
Times. Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't really been up to too much. Just walking around on the Steam Deck and really doing much else.
Your volume is peaks and valleying, man. Like
better.
All right. Well, we won't know until you do a continuous conversation or try and hold one.
All right. How about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. Omar, what have you been up to, my guy?
Playing Death and Request. I'm loving that game. It's almost like a visual novel with detective and some turn-based unique gameplay. And I'm loving it. A few things I have issue with: when people die, you don't see them actually die. The screen is almost like black, which is a shame. Other than that, I cannot recommend this game enough. Death or Request on PlayStation 4 and it's on Steam. I also started JRPG Go, and you can clearly see that's an indie game because it's missing a lot of almost like quality control, you can say. But I'm enjoying it so far. And yeah, that's about it.
Alright.
Oh yeah, and I finished what's called Iruma. I'm waiting on season 3 now to drop.
Cool. Pharaoh, what have you been up to, my guy?
Not much. Playing sports games and chilling. That's about it. Can't think. Have I played anything interesting this week? No, I can't think of anything interesting and new I played. Just kind of the same old games.
Alright. As far as myself, been playing Bulletstorm. First time ever playing that game, and I kick myself over and over and over again that I've never actually played that game before. It's been amazing. Played through Smash TV. That was fun and a half, as well as a bit of pain thrown in there. And now I've started playing Gauntlet as well, the 2014 remake of the.
That's the one
original.
for Gauntlet Legends, right?
No, not Gauntlet Legends. It's a remake of the classic Gauntlet.
Yeah, okay, Gauntlet. Okay, yes.
Yeah. Was playing some Killing Floor 2 today. That's been fun. Some more Crusader Kings 3, and I have ultimately decided, because it is night and day between playing it on the PS4, specifically even so the PlayStation 4 Pro, and playing it on PC. I have decided I will finally put down the time to actually get all achievements in Days Gone, because my god, are the controls so much better in that. It's even easier and better to control the damn bike with a keyboard and mouse. And anybody who's played any kind of game that involves any kind of cars knows that keyboard and mouse isn't exactly the most ideal, but somehow it might just be the 60 frames per second. But my god, riding that bike is so much more smoother. It's amazing.
It's one of the best parts of the game, man. Hopping on that bike and just riding on the countryside.
Not when you're trying to get through it like me, because then it's just fast travel.
Yeah, that's probably what took me so long to finish that game. I refused the fast travel. I was like, I would enjoy every second of this.
I don't blame you. I was very much the same way when I first played it as well. But right now I'm just going through it so I can get to the New Game Plus, because there's a couple of achievements that you can only get on New Game Plus, unfortunately.
Have you ever played Maximum Carnage on your stream?
We talking Spider-Man Maximum Carnage?
Yes.
No.
I'm just curious.
You
mentioned Smash TV.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, no. You mentioned Smash TV, and I thought of this would be a game I'd like to probably watch Dante play. I don't think I've ever seen anybody finish it. I've never finished it.
Oh, I'd most likely go for it co-op, because you can. So I'd most likely find a co-op partner, because best thing is with a software called Parsec, I can actually fucking do that. I can just get someone from across the pond to be able to play it local co-op with me. But no, I playing through Days Gone, I'll say this, I've forgotten how good the fucking characters in that game are.
It's the best game that just didn't make it, man. I really like that game. Like I said, I like that game
I love it
better than Horizon. And I know Horizon's supposed to be the better game, but I was like, oh man, it sucks. I appreciate everything that Days Gone was doing.
Here's the messed up thing, because I even mentioned that when I replayed it on Survivor for my PlayStation on my PS4 Pro, when I did my Survivor playthrough of it, I still experienced a lot of problems. Hell, I think I experienced more problems when I did it on Survivor, which was a while after, and I think when they were done actually updating the game. I have experienced no fucking issues playing it on PC, which just reinforces my point that last generation, it just felt like people's ambitions with games seemed to hit a fucking brick wall when it came to early technical limitations. We'd already maxed out the fucking consoles to the point where we're now just stretching the fuckers thin. Even with the PlayStation 4 Pro, because that game's frame rate is still not I'm sure it's a really good 30, but like I don't think it keeps a consistent 30. And the fact that again I fell through the fucking map, and a lot of the map didn't render in that playthrough, but no issues on the PC version. Right now, I'd go out of my way and say the PC version is the definitive way to play it, like top to bottom, like from a gameplay standpoint, from a graphical standpoint, and a performance standpoint, hands fucking down. Because I haven't fell through the fucking map yet. Alright. Fuck me, I'm really not looking forward to this. Alright. The numbers don't lie, ladies and gentlemen. So, the first quarter... the first quarter numbers have come in from PlayStation and Microsoft. And we're going to go over them. But first, I feel like we need to go through last year's numbers just very quickly, so we know where we were standing when it came to the beginning of this year. Okay? So, as of February, when the numbers were actually released, and these are the gaming divisions of these companies, not the overall profit, just the gaming divisions. Last year, it was standing that Sony the PlayStation division of Sony had pulled in $24.87 billion over the calendar year, where Xbox had only pulled in $16.28 billion in revenue from their gaming division, and Nintendo had pulled in $15.3 billion from their gaming division, because obviously, like, all of these companies have their fingers in various different pies, but these are specifically from these companies' gaming divisions specifically. Okay? Again, going into what we're going to go into, you just need to set the stage. So, as reported on by Business Standard, Japanese giant Sony on Friday said it expected weaker sales of its PlayStation gaming consoles ahead, along with a reduction in annual profit outlook as it closes the $3.7 billion acquisition of Bungie, the developer of Destiny and largely popular Halo franchise, but back when it was popular. Sony revealed it shipped 2.4 million units of PlayStation 5s in its June quarter, up only 4% from its 2.3 million shipped during the same period last year. PlayStation 5 lifetime shipments have now reached 21.7 million, reports The Verge. Sony said its software sales have plummeted 26%. Now, this software sales is there's a large spectrum of things that have gone down. So that's basically an accumulative number. Blaming the lack of big PlayStation titles this year compared to 2021 and less time spent playing games in general. Total gaming time by PlayStation users in the April-June quarter declined 15% from a year earlier, according to the company. Sony previously forecasted 18 million PlayStation 5 shipments in its 2022 fiscal year, and the company hasn't revised those estimates yet. Supply is not sufficient and demand has not gone down. Supply has not been sufficient and demand has not gone down. We really need to meet the demand. That is an important thing to do, says Sony CFO Hiroko Totoki. Sorry, my apologies. Net profit of the April-June quarter was up 3% year on year, and revenue grew 2.4% to 2.3 billion yen. Earlier this week, PlayStation said it expects revenue to decline in the low to mid single digits, driven by declines in first-party gaming content for Xbox consoles. In its June quarter, gaming revenue declined 7% and 5% in constant currency. Xbox hardware revenue declined 11% and 8% in constant currency, informed Amy Hood, Executive Vice President and CFO of Microsoft. So overall, it looks like the beginning of this year. Nothing on Nintendo, which is surprising, and I'm actually kind of upset that we don't have anything for Nintendo, because it would be interesting to see if they're down this year, because it seems like specifically around the June quarter, like the May and June quarter. What was it? Was it May or June? Was it May and June, or was it another one? Sorry. Yeah, April to June. It seems like that quarter itself, like both were actually down percentages over that physical month. Now, I can't attest to the validity of these numbers, unfortunately. Hold on. Yeah, I can't guarantee to the validity of the breakdown of these numbers, but these are the numbers we're currently looking at for PlayStation. Nothing on, and this was handed to me by Pharaoh, so don't expect any Xbox decline numbers, despite the fact that Xbox did have a decline as stated in that presser. So yeah, the numbers for PlayStation is sales are currently, and these are in yen, so they do actually have some conversion rates next to them. So overall, sales are at 2.3 trillion, which is 17.3 billion yen, which is up 2% from last year. That is a consistent portion. The operating income is 307 billion, which is up 10%. Now, the gaming network is down by 2%, currently raking in only $4.5 billion, where operating income is apparently down by $37, which, again, these numbers don't match with the other numbers that I was looking at, where they said they were down 26%.
I didn't send you any Xbox numbers. I just sent you a game industry biz article.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is there's no, like, no one has sent me anything trying to break down the Xbox numbers. Because, like I said, they're down.
They don't report the numbers, right?
Not entirely, no, they don't. They don't.
So it's difficult to have a genuine conversation about it if Microsoft doesn't report the numbers.
No, they don't. They don't give a breakdown of numbers. They give a whole number, really, which is how we know what the physical year was for last year. But yeah, the what it looks like is software of sales is down, which is why I can't attest to the operating income being as down as it is. The same with PlayStation's, which PlayStation subscribers is apparently up 2%, so that's actually gone up, and monthly active users is down 3%, which that does fall in line with what they were saying with less people playing, and digital sales is up on PlayStation, where last year it was this year it's at 79%. Last year it's up 71%, and yeah, the sale of PlayStation 4 5 game software, because these are full games, is down 26%, but which Sony has attributed to lack of actual games coming out, like lack of PlayStation games actually being out.
Do we know if this period they're reporting on is before or after the launch of GT7 and Forbidden
This
West?
was after, because these are
Okay.
these are from
these are from
3 days ago. These are from 3 days ago. So yeah, from a breakdown of the numbers, yeah, so Sony is attributing not exactly giving a reason for less people playing games, where it's 3% down people playing, but their subscribers are up by 2%, which is surprising given I was expecting it to be, quite honestly, a little lower, probably around a 1 point something, but I don't know what the whole numbers are, because this is only talking about Q2, and we are still in the transitional period from them adding the other tiers to it as well. So we'll have to see what those numbers come to. But they are adding new subscribers, so their subscriber count has gone up. Yeah, and their sales of consoles has gone up 4% as well. So overall, might not be hitting the numbers that they want, but as far as like moving units, like as far as console units, they're still selling consoles. They've not dipped yet. At least according to this, for the first quarter. Or is this quarter 2? No, this would be quarter 2. So it's gone up. I don't know which one the numbers for quarter 1. Unfortunately, it'd be nice to get those ones. Sales are up. Like it looks like decent numbers, but like as far as like interaction, but as far as like sales, it seems like both Sony and Microsoft are down in sales in some regards of gaming revenue. Which is, again, I'd love to have gotten Nintendo's for the third quarter to get the second quarter to see if this is a trend or if this is an outlier. Because if Nintendo's going up, if Nintendo would be up for their second quarter, I would say that they hit a niche or hit something that audiences wanted at the time, or just they actually bought out a game. All right, Zero. Now can you understand why I said you're going to be my ray of fucking sunshine in this conversation?
Well, I mean, I think it is. I won't.
No. I mean the fact that Jubei, Pharaoh, and Omar have got to go after you. Like that's why you're my ray of sunshine.
Watch, they're going to be uncharacteristically calm and reasonable now. I think I too would like to see what Nintendo's doing.
Me too.
Because personally, I think they're having one of their best years probably since 2017 when Breath of the Wild dropped. Because it's been a full calendar year of just like pretty big deal games.
Yeah.
From Xenoblade to Kirby to Mario to Splatoon to Bayonetta to 2 Pokemons to another Fire Emblem, to that Mario Rabbids game. Like that's a lot of sort of, if you're a Nintendo fan, you're doing well. To Live Alive, this sort of sleeper hit that I think is doing quite well. And I'm very curious to see what their online service is doing.
Unfortunately, like last year, if we're talking year by year, they're actually down. Last year, they were actually down from 2020. Because at 2020, they were at 15.79 billion. Where in 2021 they were at 15.79 in 2020. In 2021 they were at 15.3. So they were down. Fuck me. 14. I think that's, would that be 409 million.
Yeah, which I think that made a little bit of sense because 2020 saw this odd spike for Nintendo. Like Animal Crossing was always going to sell well. I don't know if Animal Crossing was going to sell as well as it did if it wasn't in 2020, where people couldn't go anywhere. Like they were stuck at the house. Animal Crossing became this joyous little like brief respite from the horror that is the world like ending behind us. But as far as Xbox and PlayStation, I'm curious. The sales seem they lost. The sales went down, but like overall, gaming is still.
Network game and network services was down 2%, but console sales was up 2%.
Yeah, it's just a nice talking point. This is certainly not I don't think it's that important to focus on. Like companies dip and dive as they do, and it's just quarter 1. We still got 3 other quarters to go.
No, this is quarter 2.
Oh, excuse me, quarter 2.
It is quarter 1. For some reason, this is
quarter
weird.
1 for Sony.
Yeah,
quarter 1 for Sony. Okay.
Yeah, this is quarter 1 from which is weird because it says quarter 1, but like it's saying from they're talking about from April to June, which I would have assumed was quarter 2. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, their net profit is up in quarter 2 from by looks.
Got it. So everybody's still eating good and doing well. What I'd be interesting to see from the PlayStation side, the only thing that really stuck out to me was that software sales are down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm intrigued as to why in a year where Horizon dropped, and to be fair, God of War hasn't come out yet, so like maybe that could be the big equalizer. What Sifu dropped this year?
Last year.
What else dropped for Sony this year?
Horizon is literally the only one, like, because from what they're saying, or from what the excuse that Sony is putting out there is they're blaming the plummet of 26% on the lack of big PlayStation titles. So basically saying that a bulk of their sales come from their big titles. But as far as like their first party titles, Horizon is the only big one that comes to mind. Let me look
GT7 also.
GT7.
GT7 as well.
I said big.
And then I guess that's it, right? It's only 2.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, let's explain it. Why?
Interesting.
I don't know if I realized that. I mean, I didn't realize that Sony effectively would probably.
No. So we also had Ghostwire Tokyo, which for all intents and purposes is a console port. So we had Ghostwire Tokyo, Horizon Forbidden West, GT7. Give me a second. I was looking up like exclusives. We haven't had that one yet because that got delayed and is most likely going to be trash anyway.
Yeah, and because everything sort of came out 2021, right? Like,
yeah, like they front loaded 2021 as best they could, and has left them with a dip of 2022, which to be honest, the only game I could think of that's coming out obviously is God of War.
Because Forspoken's next year now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There is also Valkyrie Elysium, but I don't think it counts as exclusive, just not third party.
Yeah, and I think it'll do well. I don't know if it'll be what I was just thinking about, like the Sony's big hitters, the swing out of the park.
No, God of War.
I forgot Babylon's Fall came out this year.
Which one?
Babylon's Fall. I forgot that fucking game exists.
Oh yeah, that game exists. Okay.
So that it's interesting. What I'd be curious to see is how they react to it. And what I mean by that is like, are they going to react to it by leaning more into saying like, oh, well, even when those software sales are down, if we can begin to start putting things on our streaming service, that can cover any sort of down software titles that we might have, which effectively might make them pay more attention to PS Now or PS Plus, however you want to call it, than they ever did before. Because each day PS Plus is getting better. I still think that the classic section is lacking dramatically, and the interface is still a logistical nightmare. So hopefully, what my thought is that, hey, we lean a bit more into the subscription service model, which is a double-edged sword, right? I do like having all access to all these games, but that does mean that all of these companies are going to start wanting to charge you for forever.
Yeah.
As opposed to where, like, I used to, if I bought my PS2, I had my God of War or whatever, and it was done. And if I didn't want to give them any more money, that's fine, and I walked away from it. I can still do the same thing currently, but like, there's this odd incentive to be like, hey, for just $15 a month, look at all these games you could get. some of which you might not ever play, some of which I have no doubt of inevitably between all three of them, there will be games that appear on these services that only exist on these services.
You ain't buying your game. You don't own your games.
Yeah.
You rent them.
Yeah, there will be no physical copy. You have to have access to this service to play this game. If you do not, then the game is lost to you forever, which is going to be a bit of a nightmare. So that's Sony's side. Xbox side, I guess I'm not terribly surprised, right? Like, because Halo wasn't the thing I guess they really wanted it to be, and it seems as though a lot of Xbox is just, as we call it, it's a rebuilding year.
Yeah.
So 2023 seems to be
for the last 2-3 fucking years. People won't admit it.
To 2023 seems to be when all the bangers are about to start drop. So I imagine 23, 24, maybe 25.
That seems like that from
Give
what
us that.
All right, fine. I'll go and get a snack. Jesus fucking Christ! Don't know. Tell me twice. Anyway, yeah. Looking at it, it seems like 2023, 2024 is the year both the companies are looking at, because, like in that year, like we're gonna have, we've got Alan Wake 2 coming in 2023, which is. But that's not an exclusive. But like we've got Spider-Man 2 coming out next year. We've got Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth coming out next year. Final Fantasy 16 apparently happening next year.
Yeah,
and those two were
2023.
Exclusives.
2023 is going to be a stacked year for gaming.
Yeah, for Spokens next year. This is one that I actually recently discovered. I've heard some buzz about it, but after seeing it, I'm like, okay, I don't need to wait for the Dead Space remake, because the Callisto Protocol, the Callisto Protocol looks just what I've been after. That's what I'm looking forward to.
That's coming this year, right?
No, that's coming, this year, December this year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Like the end of this year, like the very end of this year going into 2023 looks like it's the year for both companies.
So what I'd be curious about, and this is my first time actually ever paying attention to, like, particularly as a console has been released, to actual sales of the console. Whereas I don't know where, I guess, say the PlayStation 2 was 2 years at launch. What was the numbers? And I use PlayStation 2 because it's the greatest selling system of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So will the 5 dethrone the PS2? In fact, at this point, will it dethrone the PS4?
No, absolutely
Okay, so the PS4 just sit at 117 million, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They just started not reporting any more sales because, no, either 117 or 112.
It's 117. You're right.
And I would like to point out that as of January 2013, when they actually stopped catching the numbers, I think the PlayStation 2 sat at 158.7 million units.
Yeah, the PlayStation 2 is ridiculous. It's a behemoth that, like, even Nintendo couldn't take.
No.
Which is saying something.
If not for the shortage, I would not be surprised if PlayStation would be sitting on 30 million right now.
That's true. And so, but I guess if we put it in...
the demand is truly high.
So I guess my question is, the PS4 to PS5 is about 7 years. PS5...
longer than 7 years. Longer than 7 years. It's
8 years?
No, PS4 was like 2013, right?
2013. We're in 2022, my brother.
No, PlayStation 5 dropped in 2020.
Oh,
but I mean,
yeah.
4 between the 5. So,
right, gotcha.
They still make more money after, but like, I would say the majority of the sales are from within that 7-year period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which got the PS4 to there. And again, this is my first year watching it, so like, I don't know how they did. That's why I'm curious. But PlayStation 5 is in year 2.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
And like 21 million, or if we're being generous and the world didn't fall apart, like it's 30 million. That's still about another 70. For the PS2 perspective, that's a That's more than another 100 million you got to clear in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we keep things on time.
Well, so they projected they want to sell around 80 mil in what's called when they reach 2023.
Well,
I don't see that happening.
No,
just because
not a chance, because their prediction is they're going to sell 20 million this year, which, like, unless there is a significant price drop and they actually get the fucking consoles out there, that's not going to happen, because just no.
And to be clear, I'm just using because they're easier in my mind. I'd lever this same question towards Xbox as well. Same time period, same accounts. My thing for Xbox is like I think their best one is the 360. So it's like,
as it stands, yes,
are you going to
the best?
Yeah, are you going to get?
Yeah, 360 is the best generation so far. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Here.
are you
Not
going
even
to
debatable.
360? Are you going to like reach it? Are you going to surpass it? That type of thing.
I think they
just sent
both
it to you
surpassed
and
the previous generation.
Yeah,
their best generations.
their goal, like, because right now the Xbox SX, like both, because they actually combine both sales. Estimated has sold 12 million units.
Dante, I just sent you the article I was talking about.
Really don't.
I don't see it ever happening, but it's
Right.
just
But-
the conversation. Sony forecast 80 million PS5 units sold by March 2000.
Well, is
31.
that from their most recent earnings report, or is that just some old article? Because their projections change based
no,
on.
it hasn't. No, their projection for if their projection for this year hasn't changed, their overall projection would not have changed, because it even states it. Because again, some people need to pay attention to what I'm saying. Like it specifically says right here, Sony previously forecasted 18 million PlayStation 5 shipments for the year 2022 fiscal year, and the company hasn't revised those estimates yet. So if that estimate is still up, or is still in their goal, that one probably still is as well. If they're planning on selling 30 million by 2024, the numbers make sense, because then that would mean that they're estimating to make 12 million by the end of 2024.
They didn't say 30, they said 80. I don't see that happening because of the shortage.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying Omar's number saying 80.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
80 makes
is that
sense.
recent? Yeah, I'm saying, is that recent? Because
Yeah, 30
Let me
would
see.
make more sense. 30 would make more sense, especially if they can hit the requirements. But no, like,
Yeah, I was saying-
So this is published on
going back to
sorry.
what we were saying about the Xbox, like, just to leap over the previous generation, right now they'd have to sell 39. They'd need to. They basically need to sell another 40 million units. Xbox has to beat the Xbox One. Yeah, and
Which I think they're going to do that.
Yeah, and that is combining both the Xbox One and the Xbox One X and S.
Yeah. I think that's an
and-
easy hurdle to climb. Like,
To answer your question, Pharaoh, that's literally what's called on August. The article was released, so it's
yeah,
new.
August of last year, so a lot can change between
No way.
now and then. Yeah.
August 2022. Okay, yeah. Last year. Sorry, you're correct.
yeah. So like Series S, the Series S and X, I think, are easily going to clear the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like Xbox is firing all cylinders this time around. Like they got it coming. My question is, where are you going to get to the 360?
For me, the end of this year. Sorry, just to interrupt. For me, to know if they're going to make that, or if they're it would not surprise me if they do. But in the time frame that they do it, for me, we'll find out at the end of this year how long it will take them to get to that point. Because now we're in, like, we don't. Their revenue was good for last year, but given everything that they have bought, we'll find out if all of that purchase was. I'm not necessarily saying in vain.
Does it pay off?
Does it pay off as far as, like, in translating to console sales? Now, yes, Pharaoh and Jubei will say they don't care about console sales, but it's still something they've got to put down to their investor, to the higher ups, to in their physical year. Like, it's something they've got to put down. So I'm curious if that will translate over, like, at the end of this year, with everything gearing up towards next year with them releasing more games.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of sort of wide-eyed looking forward to it, right? Like, this is a bit of exciting to watch the numbers and see where people are going to fall and how they fall. Because, you know, I look at Nintendo, and not to be diminutive of their skill set and the people who make these things, but like things like the Wii certainly felt like an anomaly, in that I don't think anyone expected the Wii to do what it did. Like, just no one could. You know, things like with the DS selling high, I get that, and the Game Boy selling high, I understand that.
Hold on. A toast to those poor brave men and women who lost their lives the day the Nintendo Wii came out, and all of those mothers and grandmothers beat everybody to death with handbags to get one.
Yes, like it was a hit. It was probably the best selling toy of that year. Hands down. Yeah, hands down.
So, and actually, then, you know, you'll be interested in. I don't know if these numbers were revised, but the Switch is now actually officially outsold the Wii.
Oh yes, yeah, that happened. I think sometime last year.
I mean, ambitions were always sold out as is, so yeah. I mean, that had to eventually happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Switch has outsold the Wii. Now the question is, how far can the Switch go? Because right now it's looking to beat the PS4.
10 million. It needs to sell 10 million. You know what they need to do? You know what would send them over the top to beat out the fucking PlayStation 4?
Another Switch.
A more powerful fucking Switch.
Yeah, the Switch 2.
No, because then the Switch 2 would set it up as like a new console. It would get categorized under a new console. No, it needs to be the equivalent of the PlayStation 4 Pro. It needs to be the Switch.
It should be called the Super Nintendo Switch.
Yes. No.
It's just a Super Switch.
Yeah,
you're right. It was like, it's just a Super Switch.
But you just gotta be careful, because some people would turn and say, "This is a whole new console," then. But no, it's not.
Yes. Yeah, it's like that technically.
That name would incite so much nostalgia that sales would triple.
Do it.
Yeah. I already have 7 Switches, but because this one has the Super logo on it,
what it needs to, okay, so the Super Switch, for it to escape the categorization of a new console, it needs to be able to play Switch games. Like, it needs to use the same format and things as the Switch for it to be categorized as the same console.
Yes.
I'd buy it, dude. Again, I've said, Nintendo, if you want my fucking money, I will fucking buy I will buy a new Switch. I will actually buy a new Switch. I'm just not buying it for a shiny new screen. I'll buy it for a shiny new screen and a more powerful console, so that my Nintendo games don't chug like a motherfucker when I'm trying to play them. But, like, no, I'm not buying your OLED. Fuck off.
So overall, you know, I think I am happy that, like, gaming's good. People are eating well all across the board from the big 3. Hell, and even PC at this point. Like, everybody eating good.
I actually wanted to bring that up. Continue your point, but that's actually a point of contention I have.
Yeah, like, everybody's eating good here. A little bit of things are down, and I still do cautiously worry about our all streaming future. But like, these systems, they're doing well, and I'm happy for it, man. Because like, it's been a long time since I felt like I've had too many games to play that I gotta get to. Like, I didn't really feel that way in the PS. To be fair, the PS3 era was my college era. I spent a lot of time playing Xbox, actually. I don't know if I felt that way with the PS4. Like, there were a lot of stuff I played, but I just didn't know if I gotta have these games. The 5 era, admittedly, it's the streaming service that's probably pulling me into it anyway. It's just making me play all the old PS4 games that I never got around to. So it's awesome. Hopefully every day Nintendo Online seems to get a little bit better. So like in 3 more years, it'll probably be just on par with what Game Pass is currently. So just gotta wait 3 more years for that.
And then they'll be 5 years behind again. Anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of PC, I wanna throw this opinion to you. I wanna throw this opinion into the ether, but I'd actually like your opinion on this, Zero, as the neutral party amongst everybody. Do you think that this dip in software sales could have been mitigated if PlayStation would finally get their heads out of their asses and release day and date on PC?
I think it might depend. Well,
I'm not saying mitigate it all. I'm not saying mitigate it all. I'm saying it wouldn't be 26. It would probably be around 18%.
I think it all depends on how they operate. If they actually put any real effort into making sure that these PC ports are good when they drop, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a super drastic jump, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the numbers go high.
Yeah, because here's the thing. The precedent that they have set is that they are going to put out decent quality PC ports. God of War is a great port. Days Gone is the definitive fucking port. And obviously we've got Spider-Man Remastered coming out soon as well, which I will not buy because I'm still salty about them changing his fucking face. But for me, and it goes down to the ever expanding problem of, and what you were talking about, it's a double-edged sword of having too many games to play is a problem. Because the problem is, yeah, you can bring out a great port of God of War, but when you release it 4 years after the fact, it's like people have moved on. People have a backlog of many other games. They most likely won't drop that backlog but just to play your game that is coming out 4 years after the fact. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there has to be. I think there should be a level of strategy if you want to do something like that. When does The Last of Us drop? The remaster.
September 7th or something like that.
I think that's a pretty.
It's like the first full week of September, I believe.
Okay, I think that's a pretty open time, except for maybe Pokemon is the only thing that's going up against it. I think at that era.
No, because here's the thing though, you're talking about the problem is Zero. Is that you're on the mindset of console releases. The problem is games are constantly coming out for PC every other goddamn day. Whether it be because the indie scene on the PC is I will contest this with anybody. The indie scene on PC is bigger than it is on console. So you have to contend with the indie scene on PC as well. And there's a new indie game dropping every other goddamn week. So
no, you're right.
It's something called priorities. If especially for example, I'm excited to play a game. Let's say what's called Astral Chain. If let's say Astral Chain comes to PlayStation,
Astral Chain is never coming to PlayStation.
I said if I'm having an example right now. Okay. I'm giving an example. If Astral Chain coming to PlayStation right now, I am busy with with Death and Request, and I'm loving that game. I would drop Death and Request in a heartbeat so I can play Astral Chain. It's all about your excitement for a game. I don't need to be hyped for a game when it's released 4 years, 5 years later. I don't care. If a game comes to my platform, then I'm going to be excited about it and play it. Prioritize it. Day one.
Yeah, and so I agree with that, the priority thing. I think to sort of circle back and just sort of, I guess, end the question for you, Dante. The only thing I would question about is just that it would make sense from a software perspective. I actually have no doubt it would probably sell more software. However, Sony still seems to be operating in the quote-unquote sort of traditional way to operate a console. So they want console and software sales. And so they seem to have married the two I mean, it used to always be married until people started breaking out, right? So the marriage is we sell more software when we sell more consoles because the software is the only place. Our consoles is the only place to sell the software. Then occasionally they'll double dip with the Days Gone, with the Spider-Man and such like that, and to get it back into it. I don't know how much they sell from a PC perspective, but so I don't disagree with you. I think you're right. Software on the software side, they probably would sell more, but I don't know if any of sort of the big three have particularly cracked that nut of how to keep that software in line with what we want.
They have
hardware.
like you actually just segued into my counter argument. No, Xbox has their hardware sales have been completely unaffected by day and date PC and console releases.
I guess my only question would be, because Xbox themselves, I believe, have come out and said like we're not that interested in console sales anyway. My only question is, what does it look like when they're interested in console sales?
Because here's the thing, though, like that's their public statement. I don't care what Jubei, Ferro, or anybody turns around and says. Xbox care about hardware sales. They do. Like they do. They've got to make their money back in some form of fashion as a company. Like, especially when it comes to all the R&D and shit that goes into making these and manufacturing all these consoles that they're putting out there. They need to make the money back and make some profit off of that. The problem, but like I said, the money talks. Like, they have not lost hardware sales. For fuck's sake, the S and X has, like, as far as, like, I believe to this day it has sold more consoles in the same time period than the Xbox One did.
Yeah, you might be right, yeah.
It has been completely unaffected. The only thing that has bumped their console sales up is the fact that they've gotten their priorities straight and they've got games coming out for the console. Like, because we've constantly turned around and said it. The PC market and the console market are two completely different markets, because one is a fucking one is a nice girl you take out for dinner once and then you swipe left on Tinder. Fucking PC is a marriage. That is a fucking commitment. You are sticking with that bitch until the end of goddamn time because you are putting money into that fucker.
I would kind of disagree because Xbox hasn't had a big games year this year, but they're still doing very well in the console sales. I think this is one of the few instances where services have driven sales more than actual like new game titles that were exclusive to certain platforms.
No, but what I'm saying is the fact that their games that have been coming out on PC as well, like Halo Infinite Day and Date, like Gears Day and Date, has not affected hardware sale for them. That's my ultimate point. So, like, there is your proof that honestly Sony's, if what you're saying is Sony's approach to all this, their approach is outdated because they're still going to have that dedicated Omar market where they're just going to buy the console regardless if their games come out on another console because they're cheap.
Well, also, I mean, PlayStation has a... Oh, go ahead.
I mean, that's something to be said about, like, I would probably always, until they force me off of it, I'll still probably always buy a console just because, me personally, I spend all my day in front of a computer anyway. I don't necessarily know if I want to switch over to another one. I mean, that's what it is. I come from the perspective, I like to think probably an average consumer. I'm a bit more knowledgeable than most when it comes to this stuff, but if I, who could do all of this, do not want to hook up my computer to my TV or do all the other stuff, the only thing I want to do, come home, sit down,
press that button.
That's all I want to do. And I think I represent a lot more people out there playing games than most. I just happen to understand that I could do it. Like I can build a PC and have it excellently and spread it out everywhere and run my entire house off of it.
Hell, you could set it up like a console in your front room and set it up to where you just need to press a button and you're.
Girls like, you know what? I could install a whole server system in my damn house and have the whole house run off my server.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like doing that shit.
Call it lazy, call it stupid, call it cheap. I'll accept all three of those.
It is awful.
I'm just saying. I think a lot of people are like that, and like it's still there for them. The only thing I'll say, and then I'll sort of stop for talking a lot.
Sorry.
Is that even though Xbox is doing the day and date thing, there's a part I do agree with Farrell with, like the services are helping push the console sales, and even with that, they seem to like PC Game Pass is not as good as console Game Pass. So like,
yeah, but we saw that with what Sony said. They said that that Game Pass owns like what 80% of the subscription market on PC.
Right.
So they're still doing well, even though it's not as good.
Yeah, that my thing is, why isn't it as good?
Well, here's the thing: it owns 90% of the subscription market outside of Steam, which is a very small percentage. The moment it goes on
Steam has a subscription service?
No. What I'm saying is it owns 90% of the subscription market that is outside of Steam. But the moment Game Pass is on Steam, that number will go to like 90%, but the number of that will be bigger. The reason why, okay, so it's 90% of a small margin because it's not on Steam. The moment it goes on Steam, it will be like 80% of a much larger number. So it's like 90% of 1,000 people compared to like 80% of 10 million people.
Yeah, so, and again, it's just like Xbox certainly is in that PC space, but even they seem to have still 1 foot in and 1 foot out, because what is the reason that PC Game Pass isn't the exact same thing as console Game Pass?
Architecture, and the fact that it is all hooked up to their fucking Windows Store, which nobody fucking likes to use outside of that dedicated margin that I'm talking about. Like I said, the moment I guarantee you, I will put my reputation on this. The moment it hits Steam, you will see a massive jump in quality with Game Pass. Because they will be hitting, they won't be going for this like 100,000 audience. They'll have a much grander, larger audience that they need to appeal and impress to.
You don't have to go through the Microsoft Store for Game Pass on PC.
But it isn't on Steam. That's the thing. Like it is.
It's all through the Xbox app.
Yeah, but it's still hooked up to like that whole because that Microsoft Store is the same as it is on Xbox. Like it's all connected together. But like I said,
I'm saying it's not. It's like you just open up the Xbox app and Game Pass is the home tab, and you just click on what you want to play.
And what I'm trying to tell you, which you would just completely went around, the moment it is on Steam, you will see a big jump in quality of how they handle it because they will have a bigger, broader audience to appeal to. Like one that
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying it's not a part of the Microsoft. It's completely separate from the Microsoft storage. That's all I'm saying. Everything's through the Xbox application. That's all I was saying.
And again, the going back to the you keep bringing up the services sold the consoles like that. That's completely not subjective. That's completely irrelevant to my point, because the point I'm trying to make is console games that they're putting out day and date on PC have not affected console sales in any way, shape, or form. Like, yeah,
we have a large sample size of that.
Right,
they've been doing that for how many years now?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm saying that PlayStation's idea, if what Zero's saying is correct, their idea of not doing it day and date is completely fucking outdated, and they're leaving money on the table.
I don't think they're not releasing day and date because they don't want to. I just don't think the capability exists, and that they have been investing into building up that capability to where they do have the ability to release games day and date on PC. Xbox's architecture is kind of married to Windows, so it's a little bit easier for them to make a game for Xbox and put it on PC at the same time. Sony's is not, so they have a little bit more of a process. So I think that's why you saw them purchase Nixxes and some of the other acquisitions that they did, so that they can get to the point where they do day and date releases. The capability just isn't there right now.
Again, but like what I'm saying is the fact that they're moving at such a snail pace for it, and the fact that they're not doing more releases. Like, they need to fucking speed this shit up, because like otherwise that 26% that they dipped is going to remain 26%.
Well, when you have a little speedboat, it's very easy to turn it around and just go in a different direction. But when you got an aircraft carrier, it's going to take some time to turn that bad boy around. It's not that they're moving slow. They're a very big company. Like, things like that don't just happen overnight. Like when you're a little bit smaller, you have that ability. But it's you can't make that shift like just like that. It doesn't happen just like that. I mean, it'd be nice if they did it faster, but I'm sure they're moving as expediently as possible.
Hold on. Right. Give me 1 second. Who did that? Okay, see, my problem with that whole thing is the fact that, like, specifically with Days Gone, it was Ben Studio that made the PC port of it. So what stopped Ben Studio from, aside from the mandate that it needed to come out for console, what was stopping Ben Studio from being able to do a PC port at the same time, which wouldn't have cost that much extra in resources?
They may have not had the manpower. I mean, like, it's a new thing for them. I mean, it didn't happen at the same time. They released it day and date a couple months later. Maybe the PlayStation took priority based on the amount of manpower they had.
A couple of days later, that would have been fine. But again, we're not talking a couple of days later. We're talking literally 3 years later.
Okay.
Like, and again, that kind of port, like, especially if you're doing it along in conjunction with what you're already working on, is a lot easier and doesn't require as many resources as it does to make an entire new port of it literally 3 years later.
It's a shift in priorities. Like, PlayStation Now would like to do that. But, PlayStation, I mean, Days Gone released, 3-4 years ago?
Speaking of PlayStation Now, actually, before I get onto you, Pharaoh, because I want you to talk about these numbers, and then we'll go Pharaoh, then Jube, because I wanna keep this even. Jube, did you actually try any, as far as PlayStation Now, did you try another game other than that God of War collection?
No, not really. I haven't really fucked with it just because I haven't really had the time.
Okay, fair enough.
So you got the top tier PlayStation Plus?
I did because I had $100.
You talked all that shit.
He did.
Bro,
Yeah.
I did.
You knew.
So I had $100 worth of credit that I couldn't use on my God of War Jotnar edition.
You are no longer Captain Xbox. You are Captain Cat.
I am.
You are Captain Cat.
I am not Captain Cat.
Would you like my cat,
I'm Captain Moneybags over here, bro.
And yet he will not pledge to my Patreon if he's Mr. Moneybags. You see this shit anyway. Pharaoh, you talk the numbers, because now that me and Zero have had our civil conversation about this, I'm going to open the floodgates to the fucking mudslinging that's about to fucking commence. So go right ahead.
I'm not gonna do any mudslinging.
I'm not about numbers. I'm on about you and Omar.
Let us say the numbers are the numbers. It's their quarter one, which is for the US is like quarter two right now. We're like Q2 just ended for the US.
The fucking are weird.
So I mean, typically this is for gaming. This is the lowest quarter of gaming is typically this quarter. So I wouldn't be too crazy about numbers being down. The only thing that I would probably, take notice of is that they fell below what their projections were. And like the biggest, I saw that PlayStation Plus subs went up, and I'm wondering if that is in actual subscribers or if that's in like actual dollars from people picking up the PlayStation Plus service in June.
I think that is counting new subscribers.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if they were counting dollars or subscribers.
No, I think
because that's another thing too. Another thing with this new thing is that now that the two services have combined, is that 2 million just people who only had PlayStation Now being moved over to PlayStation Plus? So that's like kind of like the thing I'm looking at with that, because before they were moved, they didn't report the PlayStation Now numbers because they were so bad for a while. So that's the only thing with that one.
I think from now on we'll still see it a cumulative, like PlayStation Plus subscribers. Even though there's 3 tiers, it will still be counted as a cumulative. So
I'm just curious with that transition, is it actual new subscribers or if it's just the merger of the two services?
I think they still counted as new subscribers.
But I'm saying, are they actual new subscribers or just merged over?
And I'm telling you, I think it is new subscribers. I will look up the subscriber count for last year. Give me a sec.
Because they stopped reporting PlayStation Now subs for a while, so that's why I was curious about that. So when it comes to that, monthly active users being down, it is summertime. People do get out. I know the U.S. isn't the only market, but I'm just thinking, it's warm in other places too.
We outside now.
So yeah, I mean, people outside, they're doing stuff. They're on vacations. So I wouldn't be too down on that. I mean, if you're comparing it to last year, I guess that can be a little bit concerning. But I mean, whatever. I think the biggest takeaway is just. The one thing that I didn't like about this whole earnings call in particular was that first party sales were down. They only sold like 6 million something copies of first party games, and their reasoning was that they didn't have any big title releases. And I don't like you acting like Gran Turismo and Horizon Forbidden West aren't big games for you guys when Horizon Zero Dawn was lauded as a big game, and Gran Turismo is one of your historic franchises. So I didn't like it. To me, it was kind of belittling to like Guerrilla and is it Monolith that makes Gran Turismo?
What? No.
Polyphony
Digital. Yeah, Polyphony Digital.
Monolith are the guys behind Fear and the Shadow Mordor games.
My brain is a little fried. Long day. But yeah, Polyphony Digital and Guerrilla. So I just thought it was kind of like a little like slap in the face. Like, yeah, y'all don't make big games anymore. What? Like, no. Gran Turismo is still a big game for PlayStation. It's not God of War. Like if Gran Turismo and fucking Horizon aren't big games for you, then the only big game you really got is God of War and whatever Naughty Dog puts out. So that means that y'all don't have nobody's making big games at your company anymore. So I didn't care for that statement. But nah, I mean, I didn't think too much of the numbers. I know people are going crazy, and about these numbers, but I do think, these numbers show a stark contrast between, what gets hyped up on Twitter and what's actually taking place in the marketplace with consumers. And we've seen that because like Elden Ring, the third party games are killing it right now, and first party not so much, and that's across the board.
I was surprised to see like their first party only sold like 6 mil like in this past quarter.
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, it's the same thing with Xbox. So
yeah, I got the actual numbers. So yeah, Sony just sold 47.1 million titles, including 6.4 million in first party games. compared, and I believe that means in their first quarter. So we'd actually need to. Again depends on which, but we'd need to find out what games came out in that quarter and shit like
Just
that.
Gran Turismo and Forbidden West.
Yeah, we need to do a breakdown of that. But like that is down from the 63.6 million titles sold, including the 10.5 million in first-party sales in the same quarter last year.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the numbers for PlayStation Plus, I was correct because for March 2022, the number of subscribers they had was 47.4 million subscribers. So for April to June, it went up 2%, and it's now 47.3. Wait, hold on. Wait.
Yeah, but it still doesn't say if those are transferred from PlayStation Plus. I mean, PlayStation Now.
Oh wait, no, there's good update. Well, no, the number went up. Is what I'm saying. Like the number went. The number went up from. X
that's what I'm saying. PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus were separate services up until June.
No, okay, now I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I don't know about that
then. So then they became one service. So when they became one service, I'm curious if those existing PlayStation Now subscribers just got counted into PlayStation Plus. So is it actual new subscribers, or is it just we'll
have to see.
Is it brand new subscribers? Is it a combination of new subscribers plus the transfer of people over from the original PlayStation Now service into PlayStation Plus now?
We'll only know in quarter two. We'll only know in quarter 2/3 if the numbers either go up, sustain, or go down.
So yeah, I mean that was pretty much it for me.
All right.
Also, by the way, Sifu did come out this year, so put some respect on Sifu's name too. That was early.
But Sifu's not. They get into the third party. That's not a place. It's not a first party.
You're right. All right, never mind.
Yeah, it's not a first party. Yeah, they only got Gran Turismo and Horizon Forbidden West as new first party games within the first quarter. So those games apparently didn't sell the best because first party sales includes every first party game that PlayStation has under its umbrella, not just the two new ones.
Something occurred to me that is like a thought experiment, or just a thought like hit my head like a lightning bolt and it hurt just as bad. Could a reason for the low sales for them possibly be the fact that people don't want to be, because like this has actually been a topic of conversation we talked about here, and Omar is a microcosm of this problem because he kept bashing Xbox for it, and I'll admit I had my feelings about it, and I believe my feelings were actually not unfounded when it came to a technical level perspective of it. But could the lower sales also be a projection of people on PlayStation 4 not buying those first-party games because they want to play the supposed better version on the PlayStation 5, which they don't own?
Yep, because we've seen it with Miles Morales, we've seen it with Ratchet and Clank. I remember me and Pharaoh having a conversation about how Miles Morales didn't sell well. And then when PlayStation 5 were available, you saw Miles Morales sales went through the roof. So it is a.
You know what, Omar? You continue that trend. You're up next anyway.
Yeah. The thing is, this my biggest issue is we will never know exactly what's going on with everything because it can be so many things because people. So when COVID happened, people were at least me. I expected people to not spend a lot of money because you're not working, but because you're working at home and you don't have anything to do, a lot of people invested their time and energy in video games, which is why we've seen games sell like 40 million with Animal Crossing and stuff like that. Now that COVID restrictions, quote unquote, are lifted,
people still work from home.
Sorry?
So people still work from home. Yeah, people still working like nobody's going back to the office. Yeah.
No,
People-
okay.
I'm only at home 2 days out the week.
I
So
think I know
must be
what he
nice.
means.
I go back to the office.
Yeah, I think I know what Omar means. Like after 2
The
years,
government owns you, Zero.
Yeah, they do. After 2 years, in lockdown, where we saw a big giant increase in gaming. Like now that we're free and we can finally go outside, people are actually fucking doing that and spending less time.
We're
gaming.
now seeing the dip. We're now seeing the result of the dip. Not to mention,
we're seeing the foot come down.
We're seeing the other
Not
shoe
to
The other
drop.
foot. Yeah, we're seeing the other shoe drop.
I don't know about
not
that.
to mention
'cause, I mean,
not to mention the gas prices, the consequences of the war hitting the economy.
I know $70 games ain't looking as appealing.
all right, so I mean, you can argue gas
Everything-
prices, but gas prices are even more reason for you to buy a video game and to sit your ass in the house and not go nowhere. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. I'll agree. I will defend you on the
as opposed to going out. You know.
Yeah, I will.
But if you need to go to work, then you're gonna go to your work. I'm sorry, not everyone work from home.
No,
what I'm saying
we're not
is
disagreeing. Like, I'm not disagreeing with that. I will defend you with the whole. We're seeing the other shoe drop with COVID, with now COVID restrictions being lifted and people going out. I will agree that might actually have a more significant impact than some people might assume. I'm not saying it's the entire reason
I know.
it's significant, but like I'm not exactly blaming the war, the Ukrainian war on people not playing video games. If anything, people would also play.
I'm blaming the war on the prices being like, for example, there is inflation. There is also the consequences of war. For example, let's say something you can buy. You used to be able to buy an import easy. Because it's not there anymore, you're going to go to a different brand, and that brand is gonna raise its price. Like, consequences of war are legit. Just because we're not experiencing the war doesn't mean the consequences are not felt. I'm curious. You didn't feel anything in England?
Not that I've noticed.
Okay, I did experience some stuff. Cause, for example, some stuff I used to buy, and when I found out that it's not sold anymore, I'm like, okay, let me look a different brand, and that brand was up the short price. I'm like, why? I said, because you can't buy the other price, so they raised the price, and it's stuff like that. And again, I can't trust it enough. Gas prices, $100 for a trip for a car. Like, nah, dude.
See, this is why I take public transportation.
Thank God I got. Well, I used to have a bicycle. Now I have what's called electric stuff. But yeah, at the end, when it comes to the PlayStation as a whole, it's more than healthy when it comes to third-party output. Which is what made me genuinely curious about Nintendo. If Nintendo saw a dip as well, then it means no matter how much output you're putting out, people are not gonna buy games. This is why I was truly curious at what because when Xbox front, I don't know if they released anything third party related this year, so it's not possible to compare them to PlayStation in terms of
Xbox just released a game.
What did they release?
As Dusk Falls.
Okay. No, I'm talking the entire year.
They just released a game.
You just told me, but other than that, did they release anything?
Their last releases outside of that were Halo, Forza.
Okay,
Crossfire hold on, Crossfire X.
Crossfire X isn't first party.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's not first party.
It's like a global publishing deal.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Okay, so what I'm talking about is like if you look at PlayStation and Nintendo, They're both releasing first-party content and third-party exclusive content. And despite all of that, if Nintendo also had a dip, that would be massive interesting for me, because then no matter how much content you release, not everyone's gonna buy the game, which I find very interesting. Other than that, yeah, no, it's
Let's see.
very.
I'll look it up real quick.
I'm trying to find
Interesting.
I'm trying to find a fucking list of Xbox exclusive like first party games, and Jesus Christ.
I know Warhammer got delayed. A few games got delayed on Xbox front. Maybe Scorn is going to release this year.
Scorn is
coming out in October.
21st of October.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't.
Scorn is a first party, is it?
No, it's not.
That's another global publishing deal, right?
It's one. Wait, hold on. Who the fuck is that?
It's third party, I
EPP
think.
and Humble Bundle.
So, it's
It's global publishing, I thought, or just a third party game they got
Humble
right
Bundle
for.
is publishing it.
So yeah, shout out to Nate because he is the one that broke it down on my show last week when it comes to this whole conversation. Because I was very curious what's happening. Because I stay away from conversation like this. I like it when PlayStation reports sales and sales numbers are doing well. Because now I'm expecting a sequel from a game. But other than that.
Yeah.
I just play the games and I enjoy them.
So Nintendo does not love us because their earnings report date is tomorrow when it should have been today. We could have talked about it.
Fuck you, Nintendo.
What a day! I said it. I will keep saying it. VGP need to move from Monday. For the most part,
most shit comes out on Tuesdays, bro.
Not only that. Like for example, when the Activision deal happened, it broke down on Monday. When what's called?
Oh no, we get a lot of news on Mondays too. But yeah, because we've done a lot of shows on breaking news. So
yeah, welcome Bethesda deal. Then it was on Monday, but for the most part, we're getting nothing. We need to wait for the entire week to send the storage and then
our turn to shine has been like event weekend.
But
let's move it to Thursday. Would be a good deal.
All right. But I will say this: Nintendo stocks have been doing well the past couple of days, so it looks like people are expecting a positive report on Nintendo.
Well,
I will say that much.
Here's what at least I can guarantee: Mario Kart 8 will still make them a ridiculously
It's still
amount of
in
money.
The fucking charts.
Yeah.
They just dropped. They're just about to drop the DLC part 2 to DLC. Bro, we're never getting Mario Kart 9. It's never
Mario
happening.
Kart 8 Deluxe.
That's
Still in the
DLC.
top
That's
10.
gone crazy.
I believe Nintendo is about to drop the news for Mario Kart.
Yeah, when it comes to those, right?
And Mario Maker 3. It's time for a
They
Mario
still got
Maker.
3 more DLC packs.
Good racers make money because Forza, that Hot Wheels pack is selling like crazy. They've already sold over 1 million of the Hot Wheels.
For fuck's sake, the best-selling 2022 games, fucking Mario Kart 8 is in there.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, nothing beats a fun little racer. Like, all right, so like, what people don't realize is that like, when it comes to just life in general, like people don't have a lot of time and the attention spans are short. In a racing game, you can do in like 10, 15 minutes and like be like totally fulfilled for the day. For some people. So it's like,
I hate
get a racing
that in equal measure.
But it's the truth. So that's why these racers, like if you make a good one, I mean that's why during like to me like the 360 era and like the PlayStation 2 era, the golden era of like gaming, like the top games were like Burnout, Need for Speed, Midnight Club, Project Gotham Racing. I mean the racing games were it because I mean it, real quick you can get your game in and keep it moving. Mario Kart.
I'm going to talk about KOTOR.
mean, if you want to.
I'm asking you, Dante, because I really want to.
What?
Because I love it.
KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic. You played Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, I literally just finished it last week.
No, I'm talking about Omar.
Do you know? No, I never played KOTOR, but I was interested.
But you said you loved it.
No, I loved
He's
what
full of
they.
shit.
Okay, there was a misunderstanding. I said I loved the concept that they what's called delayed it indefinitely. Because I was going to buy the game.
We'll get into that as a little add-on, but first of all, I want Jube's opinion on the numbers now.
I thought he did.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I've been just chiming in here and then.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really have much to say outside. Like, the numbers are the numbers. Like, I'm not surprised by, like, the dips. I'm just more surprised by, like, the lack of first-party sales on the Sony side. And for a year where you have no first-party games, like, I was expecting more of a drastic drop-off for Xbox also. So it's just surprising. Does not having games hurt you or not? Because apparently it doesn't hurt that bad.
Well, I mean, normally it would be, but when you have a strong service that keeps people with things to play, that and it's everything doesn't have to be new. Everything doesn't have to be brand new. It just has to be new to you. I haven't played this shit before. It's new to me.
By the way, I just like to point out we don't know the sales of Xbox first party, like, because they don't disclose software sales.
They don't disclose.
They disclose like revenue, whether it's up or down, whether subscriptions are up or down. They do disclose.
They disclose
game sales.
Numbers.
How much?
No, they disclose like game numbers. They disclose third party sales for first party sales.
Why do you think they don't disclose?
Okay, no conspiracy theories.
There is no because Xbox is not its own separate division, so they report the sales of each division, and I forgot the name of the division that Xbox falls under.
But they do.
It falls under like
No, they fall under their own.
Have they always never reported sales?
Yes, because they've never been their own division. They've always fallen under whatever. I'd have to look it up really fast.
It's like PC and more. Like is the category?
It's not called. It's not called that. Let's see. I'll look it up real quick if people really want to know.
I wouldn't doubt if this generation of Xbox does very, very well that they start releasing those.
Well, they do release the numbers, but they release the numbers as they fit within this specific
category.
Brand. Category.
Right. Well, while he's looking that up, Jube, continue your thought.
Yeah. I said I'm just more surprised. Like, I was expecting stronger first party sales from Sony, even like because all those games came out on the PlayStation 4. So it's like, what was the point of releasing it there if you're trying to hold on to that market if they're still not fucking buying it? Like $6 million in 3 months when you have 120 plus million other consoles you can fucking play this game on is ridiculous.
Because people don't want to play on the other hardware; they want to buy for the newer hardware. I've seen it.
Oh, but then they bitch at PC gamers for waiting. Like, if you want to play a game, play the fucking game. Especially when it's been proven that these cross-gen games aren't really that much different on the next-gen hardware. Like, if we're being real. I can't wait for this era to be over.
The older version, but
I can't wait for it to be over. Like, I am so over fucking cross-gen games. 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Finally, I was over it before. I was over it. Like, when they first fucking announced it.
Like, it's stupid.
It's absolutely.
Yes, Xbox falls under more personal computing.
I said PC and more, right? Nigga, you said I was wrong. Like, shut up.
It's not called PC and more. It's called more personal computing.
Don't go back and look at. Don't go back and hear Jube defending Halo Infinite coming out on Xbox One. Don't do that.
Oh.
Did I defend it?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes, you.
What did I say?
You said that it is.
What did I say?
You said that it broadens sales for people who ain't gonna buy an Xbox Series SX, and it isn't gonna hold the game back in any way, shape, or form.
I need to hear this voice clip because I don't think I said that. I know better.
Yeah, we're going to hold that for the next show.
Yeah, do that for the next show. I want to talk about KOTOR.
We'll quickly talk about it because there's really nothing to talk about other than the hilarity.
Well,
it is. The hilarity.
They got
of
scale
it.
bounded.
What I want to talk about is that how good of a thing that is. I would rather them delay a game, even if it's indefinitely.
Okay, right. So,
so now delays are good. Like, bruh, come on, y'all, you clown the fuck out of Starfield for being delayed. Now delays are fucking good. Like, I don't understand.
Do you know actually why? Do you know the reason it got delayed? Like specifically, what the crowning achievement of why it got delayed?
They saw the game. PlayStation and Lucas saw the gameplay, and it was not up to par for their standards. Because after a week or something, a few head rolls.
Yeah,
I thought the story guy. I thought the story guy got fired, not the gameplay guy.
The creative directors.
Yeah, the story people got fired, not the gameplay people.
If I recall correctly, wasn't one of them the one who penned the fucking story for Vanguard?
I don't know, because I don't follow stuff like that.
Yeah, I think one of them is.
But this was, as much as I want to, for me, I was going back and forth with my team on this one. Because for me, for PlayStation to catch it that late, I'm like, that makes no sense.
What were they doing? Like, why weren't they paying attention?
Well, let me explain it then. I had a conversation with my team about that. I even blamed PlayStation, but apparently PlayStation went to what's the name, the parent company, and told them they're interested in the KOTOR remake, and the parent company gave that IP to a studio that specialized in port.
Not even specialized, because you can't even complete the fucking Switch port of Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Well, so let me then make it. So for me, PlayStation by then should have thought, oh, that's not a good idea. We need to keep an eye on them. But the issue is, most of the people that worked on the OG KOTOR are still are in that studio now. So I think, and this is what my team said might happen. So this is an assumption from now on. They thought then the IP is in good hand because it's from the same studio. It got the same people that made the OG Old Republic. I'm like, okay, but still, you should have sent someone. I mean, someone like Mark Cerny, who already helped with multiple what's called development for games, should at least have the foresight to thinking, okay, if you're gonna go from creating your own game to just port the game, there's a huge difference in that. So I blame this as much on PlayStation, but also more on what's called what's the name? The parent company. They should have also known better. While head rolled at the studio, I also believe head should have rolled at the parent company. I would absolutely not be surprised if PlayStation negotiate a new deal, a different deal, or they flat out sue them. Not to say no, not sue them, but more like negotiate a different deal, because they are not getting a game. Because how is the disconnect so much that one person says the game is releasing next year, and the other person, no, this game is released into 2025. There's a huge disconnect between the two.
There's nothing to sue them for. They were creating a product that they believed that they created a product that they were proud of. All right?
Mhm.
They showed that product to Sony and Lucas. Lucas did not
Approve it.
feel like that product did not feel like that product met the standard of their franchise.
I think their more accurate.
Yeah.
I think their more accurate response was, "The fuck is this shite?"
Yes. All right. So yes, the product did not meet the standard that LucasArts had for their Star Wars franchise, and it did not meet the standard that Sony was expecting. It wasn't like this studio, put their worst foot forward. They put their best foot forward, and the customer was not satisfied. That's not something to sue them over. I mean, it's not like Sony. It's not like Sony went and bought the IP, and they just they paid for to have exclusive rights to the IP. But if they don't want it, it's not that they didn't make the product. The customer just doesn't want it. So if you can't sue them because you don't want it after you saw what they did.
If you signed a contract with a company that's supposed to deliver a game in 2023, let's say, and the company said yes, and I know delays.
And they deliver the game, and I don't like the game. They still fulfilled the contract.
Yep.
Like the contract states that I have to make the game. The contract doesn't state
the game has to be good. I'm sorry.
and good is a subjective term.
Subjective, yes.
We don't know what they showcased was considered to be a game or not.
Well, we do know that whatever they showed Sony, they showed it with excitement. They were happy to show it. They felt good about what they showed based on the article that we got, the same article that said that this game is indefinitely delayed. These people, they developed a product that they were proud of, at least. Just because it didn't meet expectations, they still created something that they were proud of. That's all I can say. I can't argue anything up beyond that.
I'm gonna take issue with the fact that you say it's a product that they're proud of. For the simple reason, the only reason I say that is because the fact that only 2 motherfuckers got fired over this, and they were out the door pretty goddamn fucking quick. So it seems more like it seems more like this was a game that only 2 people were proud of, and everybody else was just face palming through fucking face.
Well, you fire the people at the top. You don't fire the little dudes that were being ordered to do the shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like they clearly fucking can't like the game enough that they lost their jobs over it.
This is what I said. Someone needs to be fired from the parent company as well, because they should have seen this coming. Again, I am not a developer, and even I can understand the difference between a port and developing a game. The fact that this was such an oversight, and the parent company didn't think of that. That's my biggest issue. It's insane how this shit is happening. But I'm glad that they put a stop to it.
Everything it's not like they hit speed bumps. They created what they intended to create. Everything was on point according to what they were designing. It just wasn't satisfactory to the customer. Those are two different things.
The worst part is we don't even know what this game looked like. So for all we know, this game was fucking fire. And it just happens to be some of these execs that just don't like the fact that they changed some things. Like, for all we know, like the thing that made them say go back to the fucking lab and fix this shit is the fact that maybe the combat isn't fucking D20 fucking RPG mechanics anymore. It's real-time fucking combat.
Well, remember there was a report that they're gonna deviate from the combat and make
Which is
it
good,
almost
because
like...
after playing KOTOR recently, I can turn around
Yeah,
and
KOTOR combat wasn't great.
No, the animations are really nice, but I fucking hate the D20 style combat in that game because despite the fact that I had a fucking dexterity of 20 fucking 6, I was getting smacked around. Because again, D20 combat requires a lot of luck, which means a fucking random number generator, which I don't know if any of you have played any older games around that time that require random number generators. They tend to be skewed to fuck you and not the computer
like
itself.
XCOM?
Yeah, like XCOM for sure. Oh, you got
95%. Yeah. We got a 95% chance.
XCOM is notorious for that.
No. Listen, it's not notorious for it. It's the fucking reason the term "you just got XCOM'd" exists.
Okay,
the fucking reason that shit exists.
Good thing I stayed away from too. Good thing.
No, bad thing. Two fix that shit.
Okay.
So when people turn around and say, when people make reference to the 95% bullshit, they're talking about the older XCOM games, like the really old ones. Enemy Within, Enemy Unknown, Enemy Within, and XCOM 2. Like, yeah, there might be that odd occasion. Like, I'm talking like a 1% chance, but for the most part, that's fixed.
No, dude, I'm 90% in.
Now, the old XCOM was like, yo, the chance is not 0, so go ahead and miss real quick.
Yeah, pretty fucking much.
I'm like,
and you see that alien? You see that alien that's out of cover while you're in full cover who's got like 5% chance of hitting you? Yeah, he's gonna hit you, but not only that, he's gonna crit you.
Yeah, I'm literally in front of you and I'm missing. What the fuck?
Just say you don't like turn-based combat. Oh, dude, I love turn-based combat. I fucking love... The thing is KOTOR isn't turn-based combat, though. But I love turn-based combat. Like, I love...
It's role-based. It's 100% role-based. Yeah. Like, you could be literally right here.
It's D20.
Bad roll.
Yeah, it's
a miss.
It's complete D20 style. Like, complete D20. But I love turn-based strategy games. I love my XCOM. I love my fucking Fire Emblem. Like, I love that.
But,
I need to pick up...
like I was saying, I pretty much said this in the group chat, but like I was saying, when it came to this whole KOTOR thing, and I think one of the reasons that Xbox turned it down is that maybe this studio wasn't necessarily qualified to make the game, and now Sony's kind of seeing that.
You want to know?
Because, I mean... So...
But it's a job on the parent company to know that. If you again, am I wrong here? Because thinking that if you know that a company is specialized in port, and according to you, not even that.
Well, it's not really a port. It's a whole remake. This isn't a port.
Remake. Why would you trust a port maker for a remake?
Precisely.
Yeah,
port makers take what's already there and they modernize it slightly. This is a remake.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So from what I remember when this game first got announced at the Sony event. Yeah, when it first got announced, like the following week, people were killing Xbox because the report came out that they got first dibs at the remake, and they said no. So I'm just guessing they probably said, well, who's making it? And it's like, we're not really comfortable with that, and moved on. But for Sony, it's a shot at a legendary title that they missed on in the previous generation. So they said, sure. And I think, we're kind of seeing that, this isn't, the studio to be making this type of game, possibly.
Hold up.
Before you go on your little bitch you ran, you want to know the reason why I didn't want to talk about this? Because it was announced 10 months ago with a 1 minute and 6 second fucking CG trailer. So I'm not and I kind of put it out of my mind. So really, I'm not missing much because there wasn't anything to fucking miss anywhere.
Yeah, it was out of sight, out of mind. To me, the only thing I remember about it is that people were crushing Xbox for not jumping on this particular game, and that was like the biggest thing I remember from the CGI after the CGI trailer, the backlash of
I was
KOTOR not
interested in
being
it
on Xbox.
because I love gaming. Now, for me, I don't believe what you said, Pharaoh, for one simple reason. Crossfire X exists.
Crossfire X is a game that's already established on PC.
No,
and they just
no,
said,
no,
hey,
no, no, no.
no,
He's-
Crossfire
X is already it's already a PC
It
game.
was a port.
No,
It was
he's
a port.
no,
Yeah, so
he's
it's-
talking about the single player. Like if you
The single player though is hot garbage.
if you're bringing up all of this quality control that they looked at KOTOR and were like, nah, we think we'll pass because we
I
want
didn't say quality control because the game wasn't far long enough for quality control. I just think they saw the studio and said, "No, we're good." I mean, the story is supposed to be done by Remedies. Remedy is a pretty good studio when it comes to that type of stuff, typically.
Okay.
At this time.
But I'm
Not
very
this time,
glad.
but typically Remedy is pretty good at what they do with the story based stuff. So
I'm very glad finally we're getting quality control and also consequences for fucking up.
what are the consequences?
Yet you're still here, Omar. So I don't think we're really getting consequences.
Well,
I'm just saying, what are the consequences here? I mean, you got two people got fired. Okay,
Yeah.
but did they get they didn't get fired because they did the job. It's like you're just advocating for people to just be fired. You know, they did
no,
their
job.
if you're not, I'm advocating for people to get fired that's not doing their job well.
but they did their job.
Do you know?
We don't know that they didn't do their job well.
Clearly,
It literally could have been like, this is not what we thought it was going to be. We don't like the direction you're going in. Goodbye.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't. Shit, Steve Jobs got fired. Not that he wasn't doing a good job. They just didn't like the vision at the time.
They didn't understand the vision. We don't understand the vision, man.
So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that these people are the next Steve Jobs at what they do, but I'm just saying we don't know whether or not they did a good job. We just know they didn't meet whatever expectations the people they presented it to were expecting. Maybe they were expecting something a little different. Well, not a little different. They were definitely expecting something a lot different if they fired them because of it. But doesn't mean it was doesn't mean that what they presented to them was bad. It just may not be what they wanted. And probably in that instance when they got fired, they probably got fired because of creative differences because they wanted them to make changes and they didn't want to make those changes. So most like in that type of instance, when it comes to being creative, is they most likely got fired due to creative differences. It probably wasn't. Oh, we showed them this, and we're just like, oh fuck you, you're fired the next day. Like, no, that's probably not how it went down. Probably got released due to creative differences.
I'm looking forward to when what's called KOTOR resumes development. With maybe
that's a if. We don't know if it's going to resume when those indefinites come out. It's not a guarantee that the game's going to come out anymore.
You know, I find it funny that during the conversation that I expected mudslinging to happen, despite the fact that I threw the fucking facts out there. It's the one where you guys are just throwing wild speculation that you just start talking over each other and arguing.
are you talking about the number one? Because the number one, we had no idea what's happening, but with this one, well, we start the idea what's happening. But I'm curious because for me, so is it easy to switch teams before current copy to say, okay, you guys are no longer working on this? No. So what do you do then? Do you bring in more experienced people that works on actual publishing, developing games instead of just porting games?
Yes and no. It will be easier to switch teams if you allow them to start from scratch. You can't just simply pick up what another team has started because the other team has got to get familiar with what the other team was doing, the coding that they were using, the engine that they were using, etc., etc., etc. To bring in more experienced people would be another easier way to do it. But that person's also got to get caught up on like where we are right now with progress. What are all the ideas? What the vision is?
And that person has to be free.
Yes.
There you go,
Yeah.
Zero. I'm curious what your thoughts about this. Well,
Yeah, I think you stand a better chance of this game getting like burnt to the ground and rebuilt like all over again.
I mean, that would be the only reason to get rid of the creative people behind it. Like, that's back to the drawing board. That's actually going to be a huge expense.
I turned around and said, I'll say it here, because I said on my KOTOR, on the last part of my KOTOR, my OG KOTOR playthrough, I will fucking join the team as a creative director for free, and I will fucking tell you how to remake that game, because that game has a lot of things that need fucking fixing.
Yeah, I mean,
you're an attorney. We don't join nothing for free. That's leaving money on the table. We don't do that over here. All right.
Read this story. Diablo Immortal player spent 100K on a game.
That's
now
old news. Listen, Omar, that's old news.
I just saw it.
I know,
and I'm like, damn.
I know, but it's 3 a.m. and
it's
3 a.m. for me. Meaning,
okay, I'm gonna close it down.
Dancing.
I'm curious.
Look at me. Look at this handsome visage.
Dude, I'm curious you didn't talk about Stadia. The rumors that Stadia were gonna disconnect.
Well, because I don't give a shit about pieces of shit. That's why. Anyway,
okay,
just
let's close it down.
This face needs its beauty sleep to maintain this amount of ugliness. Anyway, let's get to the actuals, gentlemen. Jube, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me at Jubei X Sensei on gaming platforms, Jubei Sensei everywhere else except Twitter.
Yeah, he's in the Hidden Leaf Village, though. Like he doesn't reside on Twitter. He's in the Hidden Leaf Village.
Yeah, I'll probably be finally checking out some multiverses in detail this week. Have not been able to get on it yet, but it's downloaded. Just need to get on it. See if I can main that Harley Quinn all the way up to the top.
Ooh, my girl. All right. Omar, where can people find you?
People can find me at Kahab_Jahab on Twitter and Anime Squad every Friday 5 p.m. into 10 time, and Gameplayer every Saturday 5. Friday is Anime Squad and Saturday is Gameplayer 5 p.m. into 10 time. I'm also starting a new show with the daughter. Oh fuck you! With the daughter of one of my teammates on when it comes to Anime Squad. We're gonna review One Piece arc by arc.
Oh Lord!
Sorry?
I said, "Oh Lord."
Yeah, she is new to the franchise, so she's gonna be on instant and not knowing what's happening. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And if anyone wanna join the conversation, hit me up.
So by the time she catches up, she catches up, One Piece will be over, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on her speed, but we will see. No, she is reading it. She is not watching it.
No, I take that back. Hopefully.
Reading is very fast compared to watching.
Pharaoh, where can people find you?
Hey, it's your boy Pharaoh. You can find me on Twitter at Pharaoh Bizarre and anywhere that you like to watch streaming at Land of Pharaoh.
Alright, you can find me at Dante Crisis on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, DLive, and Twitch, and the Dante Crisis on Facebook. Currently doing a let's play on my YouTube channel of Batman Arkham Origins still, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Live streaming I'm currently doing today, Tuesday. I will be playing Super Mario Odyssey. Wednesday is going to be my chill stream. Thursday is another chill stream, and Friday is going to be Gears 5. Next week on Thursday, I will be beginning Persona 4 Golden. Lord have mercy on my soul. Okay, Zero, where can people find you? But more importantly, homie, where can people find us?
Well, as always, guys, it's an absolute blast to be here and chop it up with you and the folks in the chat. Always appreciate you guys for coming out. You can find me 0.exe pretty much everywhere, or 0x386, whichever one works. Probably playing Elden Ring and Multiverse. So catch me up on there. But more importantly, please, oh please, look for us anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast, which hopefully we are one of them. So Apple, Spotify, Google, we are there on all of them. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate that you listen to us because you literally could be doing anything else, but instead you decided to listen to us. So like, we always appreciate that because we just sort of do this and just chat nonsensically for about an hour or two,
and then I go to bed.
Yeah, and then Dante goes to sleep. So always wonderful to have you guys here. Of course, even though we're all here together, all of my partners do other things outside of that. So please check out Dante's streams Monday through Friday. Absolutely wonderful streams. You'll probably be seeing me in one of them this week. Please check out Omar and myself and Jube on Anime Squad on 5 p.m. or just Omar and his team with Game Slayer on Saturdays at 5 p.m. and his new channel, which is, I'm assuming, not been named yet, but eventually he'll name it and get that out there.
It's not a new channel. It's going to be on Anime Squad. Just a new what's called concept.
Gotcha.
Video.
A segment. Okay.
Oh.
Check out Jubex Sensei.
Yep.
As soon as he's
Check me
back
out on Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch, SoundCloud, Black Planet, all that good stuff. He's out there in the streets. And of course, Land of Pharaoh playing the Maddens. He's playing it right now, playing Madden NFL 22 on Xbox is what I see.
Oh, no, I just want to it's just on. I'm not playing it. It's just
I've been playing Fight Night this whole fucking time, bro. This Discord to Xbox.
Wait, which one? The good one or the bad one?
Champion.
It's only one Fight Night now, Fight Night Champion. I don't think you can play anything else.
Yeah, you can't. I miss 4. 4 is still my favorite, but I miss 4.
Dang, Fight Night Round 2 was probably my
Fight
favorite.
Night Round 3 for me.
They need to desperately make a new fight. If they made a new Fight Night, it would outsell any damn UFC game. I'll tell you that right now.
For sure, because UFC got garbage after Undisputed. Real shit.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is that boxing games just have better mechanics than MMA games. There's too many things you can do in an MMA match.
It's too technical. Like it's certainly easier for people to get into a boxing game.
Yeah.
But as always, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening.
All right, yes, ladies and gentlemen, remember, keep it gaming. Okay, we out of here. Peace.
Later.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone.
You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west.